the recording on our website within the next day or so. Hopefully it'll upload this afternoon. Sometimes they take a little longer. And I apologize now. For some reason, they decided to start riding loud motorcycles up and down my street just as soon as I decided to get on. So the neighbor across the street was playing music earlier. I thought that was okay, but now we got motorcycles. So. Has everybody had a chance to go out and vote? I hope.
I did.
Not yet.
Yeah.
How long did you have to wait, Terry?
3 hours.
Wow.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
We were out going to give out water and snacks at several polling places today around lunchtime, and people were literally going in and out within just a few minutes. There were no lines at all.
Alabama didn't have early voting.
Well, you know, they went over, Chandra and her group went over to Phoenix City, and they ran into the same thing. It was, people weren't waiting any more than 10 minutes.
I just passed back by where I voted in Ladonia, and the line was longer now than it was when I voted this morning.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Looks like we've got some new folks joining us today, so we're gonna start with giving everybody a chance just to do a quick introduction when we get started. Kathy, who is that sweet assistant of yours?
That's him.
Hey, Big Eyes.
Cutie. She would be upside down, huh?
She's my little sweetheart.
She's beautiful.
She's such a good baby, too. Pat, I hope you had good news on your granddaughter.
We're still waiting for the tests. Yep. How about you?
Well,
Did you guys get a good report last night?
We did. They're going to keep him one more night and monitor him. They've adjusted his feeding schedule and put him on a bottle, and they have him on an apnea monitor. So they want to keep him one more night in the hospital. So he's not liking not nursing, and Lindsay's not liking pumping.
Yeah. It's a huge transition, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, he's not sleeping well. So, I mean, because of the transition, because he was used to going to sleep at the breast, so he's having trouble sleeping.
And how old is he?
He is 7 weeks old. 8 weeks. He just turned 8 weeks. Yes.
It's amazing. You know, I'm sitting here looking and thinking, did we, any of us think at the beginning of this year we would have all of these people into our living rooms and dining rooms and everything else, you know, on a regular basis nowadays? It's crazy.
No, isn't that crazy? I mean, you've got to keep at least one room clean.
That's why I'm facing the china cabinet. You're not seeing the rest of it. Got about 1 more minute and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, I've got right at 3 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And of course, you see the name on the screen. I'm not Grace Nagel, but we're switching our WebEx and Zoom accounts and all. So for today, I'm using one of our coworkers, Grace's. So again, I'm Pat Frey with Home for Good, a with the United Way of the Chattahoochee Valley. And like I said, we've got several folks here that look to be new or have only joined us once or twice. So just for everybody's sake, if we can just go down the line, and I'm just going to go down the list as it is here. Many of you are muted. So just the next one on my list here of attendees is Samuel Jones. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, let's see.
Sam? Okay, we can't
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, this is Pamela Jones. I'm on my grandson's computer.
Okay.
Hi, mine's crashed. I'm on my grandson's computer.
Understood, understood. Welcome. Good afternoon, Pam.
Good afternoon.
All right, I have someone on the phone here. And that's not you, Kathy. Someone who's on the phone.
Is it Nikki maybe? Is Nikki on?
I don't see Nikki.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go on. Well, Kathy, go ahead. You're next.
Oh, I'm Kathy Robinson, Director of Case Management for Safe House Ministries.
And Antoina, did I pronounce that right?
Yes, ma'am, you did. I'm with Changing Faces Within.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mr. Charles.
Charles Jeffries with Safe House Ministries.
Miss Denise McWhorter.
Hi, everyone. Denise McWhorter. I'm with the Community Reinvestment Department at the Government Center.
And Lisa Dion.
Hey, I'm Lisa Dion. I'm with New Horizons Case Management.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lovely Selden from New Horizons Case Management.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Miss Melinda.
Trying to unmute. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melinda Schamberger with Valley Interfaith Promise.
Miss Terry.
I'm Terry Gallops with Hope for Good United Way.
Miss Valerie. Valerie, you have to unmute yourself. Well, we'll come back to you, Valerie. Mr. Morgan.
How you doing? Melvin Morgan, HCHV social worker, Tuskegee, VA.
Welcome, welcome. Still need to get that new email, Melvin.
Get it to you.
Thank you. And I just brought in Miss Crystal. We are wrapping up introductions, Miss Crystal, so you're on. You need to unmute. Well, Crystal Feliciano and Valerie Harvey from Open Door are here, but I'm having trouble hearing you guys. Is there anybody? I know there was one person on the phone and there's one that's listed as user. So if you have not had a chance to introduce yourself, you want to go ahead and do that now?
Hello, everyone. Virginia Cartwright, PATH Program Director at New Horizons.
Okay. Hey, Virginia. And there you are. I see you. And Valerie at Open Door doesn't have audio. So that explains why we couldn't hear her. Awesome. And I just let someone else back in, but we're going to go ahead and get rolling here. And at the end, we'll just make sure we go through the roll just to make sure we've gotten anyone, or everyone, I should say. Welcome to the November meeting of Housing Navigation and COVID response. We've got quite a bit of stuff to get over today, and we'll have lots of time to chit chat and exchange ideas and express what's been going on in all of our different organizations as we move through this and try and keep some semblance of order and meet the needs of those who are most vulnerable in our population. I'm going to go ahead and try and open up my presentation here, and it looks like we're rolling right along. Somebody just nod if they can see it, please. It should say housing navigation. All right, we're moving along.
Yeah,
See it.
yeah.
Okay, now here we go. We're going to go over a couple of things. HUD data quality, 211 coordinated entry. Got some interesting things going to be happening soon with making that even easier for our clients to access. We're going to talk about the Moving to Work program, which some of your agencies participate in as case management entities, agency updates, and any upcoming events and things we got going on. For those of you who use our, hold on, I've got 2 more people waiting in the waiting room here. Let me let these folks in. Sorry about that. For those of you who participate in our Homeless Management Information System, our HMIS system, it's that time to do our next round of HUD data quality reports. This actually went out yesterday, and thank you to, I think Laura has sent hers in already from New Horizons. I think Liz has sent hers in from Homeless Resource Network, and I think Terry has sent hers in from Home for Good. So thank you to those who have already sent yours in. I appreciate it. But this is a little bit about the, sorry, clicked one too many times. We're doing, let me go back. There we go. We're doing a date range this time of April 1st to October 31st. That will bring us up to the end of last month. And we will then be doing them on a monthly basis. We got a little behind the curve at the end of last year and due to COVID, but we're back on track and moving right along. Immense improvement has taken place in the data quality across the board on all the agencies. There are still a few sticking points that we've run across. Date of birth, social security number continues to be one of those things that have plagued some agencies, and it's usually those agencies who are supportive services only, where someone comes in, gets a service, and then goes, and you may or may not see them again. So we're going to have that as one of the topics for the data quality happy hour that's going to take place on November the 10th from 3 to 4. Our client track admin, the specialist in all things data quality and HMIS, is hosting it once again. She will be hosting a happy hour every month and doing a deep dive into some of the common errors that we have found over the past several months. Will be on her agenda. Also talking about exits. Exiting clients has become a difficult issue for some folks because they're not sure exactly what their exit destination should be. So she's going to break some of that terminology down for you as well. Just an FYI though, in December we will be having an all users HMIS meeting to go over some more detailed things, and we'll be having much more regular all users meetings so that everyone is constantly learning new things and being able to do more and better things with their data. So it's not just having to enter the information, but it's actually using the information to make decisions for your agency and for the community at large. As I mentioned, 211 and coordinated entry, we use those terms synonymously because 211 is our access point for coordinated entry. For all of us who have been in the housing world for any length of time, knowing that all housing programs, meaning rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, must go through coordinated entry. Those referrals have to go through coordinated entry for your agency to be able to act upon them. For those of you who will be participating in ESG CARES funding, every allowable expense under ESG CARES must come through coordinated entry, which means coordinated entry folks, 211 operators are going to be busier than ever, but it's a better way to be able to assess who's coming in, what the needs are, and making sure that everyone gets referrals in the same way each time. As I said, 211 is the access point. Clients can call 211. They can call the 10-digit number as well. Also, on our website is the form for the 211 intake. It is the same exact questions that a client would get asked if they called the 211 operator. We do it in case they're on hold for a long period of time. The client may run out of minutes, or they only have access to calls when they're near Wi-Fi or whatever. We encourage agencies to have access to that form on the website, so it can be printed out. The client can fill it out. It can be scanned and sent directly to Candace Muncie, who is the 211 manager here locally. She puts it into the system, and then it gets transferred over to Tammy and Kathy over at Coordinated Entry. Not ready to reveal it today, but I can tell you that Terry and Tammy and Kathy have been working with our marketing folks so that you won't even have to print out the form anymore. The form is going to be able to be filled out immediately online on our website, and when you hit enter, it automatically will be emailed to Candace. That way, it's a seamless process. It's much easier for the clients to access, and also anyone, like I said, maybe they only have access to Wi-Fi or whatever. A client could literally on their smartphone do their intake and hit submit, and it would go through immediately. That will, we've got a few tweaks. We were hoping that we'd be able to reveal it today, but we've got 2 tweaks that we've got to work out. We didn't want to present it and it not be ready to go, but be looking for that in the next day or so, with the link on where it is on our website. And it will be much easier for the clients and for you guys. There's no more of that print it, scan it, email it, all those steps you won't have to go through anymore. Real quick, I'm gonna stop right there in case anybody has any questions. If someone's putting something in the chat, I can't see it, so just know that. I'm not ignoring you. All right, no questions. We're gonna move on. And I guess I went ahead on explaining all of this, talking about the form, but this screenshot you see here is what the first page of the form looks like. And at the bottom, it tells the client what to expect, what the next steps are, what the process is. So people aren't left wondering, well, what's going to happen next? Who's going to call? How long am I have to wait to get a call? And those kinds of things. So it's all spelled out right here on the form, on the front page of the form. The second page, sorry, someone's trying to get in the waiting room. All righty. The second page is literally the intake information that the 211 operator would ask if they had the client on the phone. And these are also the informations that are required for HUD for coordinated entry. We were very lucky that when we put this together, it very closely mirrored what coordinated entry looked like once those regulations and those procedures were put into place. So these are the questions that the client would be asked, or again, once that live form goes and the client can do it live, they will fill out and answer those questions. Excuse me, there are very few of these questions that are going to be required to fill in. The key one that is going to be required, and I'm pointing to my screen like you can see it, is going to be the one that says, where did you sleep last night? That is required, so we can literally, that triggers a whole host of other things so that we know how to make those referrals happen for clients. Okay, come on, page 2, let's do this. Are we not? Let's try this again. Don't you love technology? Okay, last page is a signature page, and this will obviously go away. It will be a click box on the electronic form where the client gives consent for this information to be shared, coordinated entry shared only, for them to be able to access housing and housing services, okay? So that, again, simple. Again, once it's completed, as it stands right now, you can email it to Candace. and her team then enters it into the ReferNet system. That's the 211 database. That's their version of HMIS. And once they do that, Tammy and Kathy in the Home for Good office are the coordinated entry administrator and assistant, and they pull from ReferNet on a daily basis and have a deadline of 3 days, 3 business days to contact the client. Now, we all know we can say that we're going to contact someone within 3 days. That the reality is we're going to attempt that contact. It may take us to the 5th day to actually get the person, you know, on the phone, or to be able to make that contact via email sometimes. But we will attempt that contact and document such in coordinated entry, in case notes, within those 3 business days. We will also note it on our coordinated entry by name list, which anyone who has access to HMIS can look at what the by name list looks like on a daily basis. And those activities will be noted on there. It shows up as a date, and then you can look and see what's going on with that client. That's especially important if, for instance, you submitted a coordinated entry or an intake for a client who said, "Hey, Miss Mary, I want to come back to your program." They put that on the form. That way you can monitor to see, hey, has coordinated entry been able to contact that client yet, so that they can make that referral back to my program. So once that referral is made, this is what it's going to look like in your email box. So you can see here that you have an incoming referral. It will pop up in your email for all of you housing programs, and going forward, ESG Cares programs to include non-congregate shelter, and eventually prevention. Prevention is on hold now due to the CDC moratorium, but this is what the referral would look like in your email box. It's going to tell you that you've got a referral pending. And when you open it up, it's going to tell you that a client has been referred to your agency. Again, very easy. It's not going to give you the client's name. It's going to give you the client number. And you will do that, of course, in the search bar at the top of HMIS to look for that. I'm going to stop for a second. Any questions so far? Again, if you're putting something in the chat box, I can't see it when I'm sharing the screen. I apologize. All right. So once the referral is received by your agency, you have the same 3 business days to begin that contact with the client. And if there's anything I can stress is the moment you pick up that phone to call that client, the easiest thing is to have that client's case open in coordinated entry, have a case note opened up so that while you're there, you can go ahead and document whether or not you were able to make contact with that client or you were not able to make contact with that client. And that will help you in documenting that your agency was doing, attempting that contact within the time frame. As thank you for putting this on here, Terry. During your initial contact, like I was talking, and prior to the client being enrolled in your program, everything is under coordinated entry because that's where this client is. They've not been enrolled in a program. They are in coordinated entry, and that is the repository that all of us can use and share information to help this client to access housing. Once that client has been enrolled in your program, then you will obviously be looking at them through your agency and through your program. Of course, as thank you, and Terry put it on here as I was babbling earlier, everything should be documented in case notes. Again, case notes in coordinated entry are shared across the continuum. Case notes in your program enrollment stay within your organization. That's really important. The case notes in coordinated entry are literally those things where we are attempting to make contact, have made contact, have set an appointment or whatever for this client to meet with you, to go over things with you, whatever the case may be, in order to be able to determine eligibility for enrollment in your program. Okay, very, very important. very important that the case notes be done timely. And you not to put, today is November 3rd, not to put talk with client on, October 31st, September 1st, and August 2nd or whatever. You need to have that case note for that particular day, and give some information as to the context of the call. Obviously not breaching any confidentialities or anything like that. But if the client refused the referral, if they said they would call you back or whatever, just, it's that documentation that when someone's looking to say, hey, why is this still sitting here? Why is this open referral still sitting here? You'll have the documentation to go back and review and to show why. So once the client meets your eligibility, then the client is enrolled in your program. That doesn't mean, Mr. Rapid Rehousing Program, you're ready to move them in tomorrow. This is, hey, yes, you meet the income eligibility requirements. We can tentatively document or say that you're homeless. They don't have to have that documentation that day. You begin working with them to obtain that documentation. So, and Terry, I'm going to ask you to expand on that just a little bit more. But while that client is tentatively eligible, you go ahead and enroll them in your program and begin working with them to get them what they need in order to move forward in the housing, in securing the housing. Of course, if it's an emergency shelter, you would go ahead and move them into the emergency shelter. And again, prevention, once that becomes available, you would move forward on that. Terry, would you like to say anything on that right now?
Yeah, a good example of this would be the Moving to Work program. There are two requirements to be enrolled in the Moving to Work program. It's that you're literally homeless and that you are under the income limits. So if Hugo Granger shows up at your place and doesn't have any ID, but he's homeless and he doesn't make enough money, you can go ahead and enroll him in your program and then collect the ID as you're working with them. It's real important that they be enrolled when you start working with them, because that lets other agencies know that they're enrolled in one housing program. Some of you who've been with us for a while will remember we had one guy who was enrolled in 5 different agencies for housing because he wanted to see which one of us would get him help first. And if you spend money, and you submit for reimbursement on it, and another program has submitted for reimbursement on the same client, you're not getting reimbursed. So, that's why it's important to enroll them as soon as you start working with them. As soon as you spend the first case management hour with them, you're enrolling them. Also, when you go back to the case notes, that's where I pull the information for the HUD reports that I submit. And if you do something like that where you say the referral came in on the 13th and your case note is on the 30th, whether you contacted them on the 13th or the 15th, it counts as being out of compliance because the case note is not documented until the 30th. So those need to be done within 3 days. It keeps your organization in compliance. It keeps the COC in compliance. And that's our ultimate goal, is to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing as quickly as possible.
And you're exactly right, Terry. And also, the length of time homeless that we have to report as part of our system performance measures each year to Department of Housing and Urban Development. Length of time homeless is one of those key factors that is monitored on a yearly basis to see if we are doing a better job of shortening the time it takes for us to house a person from the time they enter the system until the time they move into their own private housing. It's not the time in your organization, it's the time in the system. So, holding on to the client's information and not enrolling them until you're ready to move them in. Well, yes, it looks like you enrolled them in ABC Rapid Rehousing on the 30th and they moved in on the 31st. But realistically, there's no way that a client could enroll in a program, schedule an inspection, turn on utilities, everything else in one day. That just doesn't happen. So making sure that we make sure that the enrollments are happening when they should, and that everyone is, again, using those case notes so we know who's doing what. And also, we have found a lot of time the case note is very helpful, because someone will go in for one of the services programs and they'll go to put a case note in and look and see that so-and-so has been trying to contact this person. And they can say, hey, listen, I've got Joe right here. I see you've been trying to contact him. Hold on, let's go ahead and get something scheduled. Really important to always make sure we keep up to date those case notes. So Terry, we were going to talk about moving to work and some updates here. And I'm going to have to be very frank. I left my notes on that at the office as I was running around today. So I'm going to sort of lean on you a little bit to help me with this.
Okay. A lot of agencies are, starting to put people in for moving to work applications, or putting in applications for the vouchers. And if you if you look in your handbook that you've all been given, it tells you step by step what's submitted when. And if we keep in that process, it expedites things. It runs so much smoother when you put things in the order that you're supposed to put them in. The background check comes, it usually takes, we usually have it back within a week. And during that week is when you can collect all the other information that you need for the packet. The book tells you what order the packet's supposed to be in. We submit it digitally to the housing authority, and that's they only want one submission. So they don't want me to send 7 different attachments for one person. They want it all in one thing. We've got, out of the 19 applications we have right now, we have 2 that are actually using theirs. There's a total of 73, I think it is, vouchers out there.
Yes.
Yes. So we want to get to using them as quickly as possible. If you have any questions about how to do it and you don't find the answers in that handbook, feel free to email me or call me. Emailing is best, because then we can set up a trail for you, a paper trail. And also you have something to refer to again and again if you forget what I said in something.
Any questions about moving to work? Anyone need any more explanation on what moving to work actually is? All right. That was easy. Any agencies updates? Anybody have anything? I'm going to stop sharing for a little bit so I can see everybody. Anybody have any announcements, updates, changes to their operations, new programs, things coming on board? This is the quietest group I've been in all day. Hey, Kristen, I see you're here. All right. Let me go back here and see what else we got going on here, folks. So anybody need help with something? Anybody struggling with anything, having a hard time meeting needs, anything like that maybe somebody else on this call can help you with? Everybody's perfect and everything's going wonderful. Couple announcements. The happy hour for data quality, as I mentioned, is on November the 10th. Your HUD data quality reports are due the day after, so that's a great time once you've gotten to where you've gone through and worked out all of the issues that you could possibly work out, and you're stuck on that one last one. That's a great time to go over it with Desta. And trust me, if you're having that problem, someone else is too. And there was one agency who had an issue that we were baffled about. And I saw you're on the call. We finally got an answer to that today. So we'll be able to work that out with you. for some reason there's a ghost duplicate. So we'll be able to work that out and get that taken care of for you. But
And
having
Tony says,
that data quality happy hour is a great time to go over things, and Just always has those nuggets of wisdom on things we can all do to make things look easier for all of us.
Antoinette has a question.
Antoinette has a question. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing so I can hear. Yes, ma'am.
The workbook you guys was referring to?
Yes, the Moving to Work handbook.
Where can we get that from?
We can include it in everything we send out from today's meeting.
Okay.
Moving to Work is a voucher program through the Housing Authority, and the clients that are eligible for Moving to Work are those who are going to need ongoing case management. And the case management agency must sign an MOU of understanding. That was a redundant memorandum of understanding. But anyway, that they will provide the case management in the way that it's outlined in the handbook. And the reason we need everything documented at HMIS is because that's how we review to make sure that there's compliance and all. So we'll be glad to add it to the attachments from today's meeting.
Thank you.
Anything else? We're actually ready to wrap this thing up. I've gone through all the slides. Hey, Virginia. I don't know if you just typed it. I just saw it. Anything else? Anybody else have anything interesting going on? Anybody want to talk about any special hours they're going to have around the holidays? Any of that? No? Okay. I'm going to give it 5 more seconds and then we'll wrap this thing up, folks. We'll send out the slides to, well, you know what? We need to go through and make sure we've accounted for everybody on attendance. So we have a person on the phone and I still don't know who that person is. And then I have this person who's showing
Melvin.
up. That's Melvin? No, I see Melvin. I see someone who is 8SFDZM. You have on a chevron pink. Yep.
Yeah, Lorena.
Who's that?
Lorena.
Okay. And then we have Antoine, and we have Antoinette and Kathy and Charles and Denise. Joseph. Your last name?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, Rodriguez.
Okay. And you're from?
Like what agency? Like
yes.
Oh, New Horizons and Case Management.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay. Then we have Kathy and Crystal and Denise and Lovely and Melinda and Terry and Tammy and Valerie and Melvin. Okay, if I did not call your name, please speak up so we can have a record of your attendance.
Can Melvin put his email address up again?
It is melvin.morgan@va.gov.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, guys, we will call it a day. We get out of here early on election day. Everyone stay safe. If you haven't voted, please do so. And we will see you again, hopefully at the data quality happy hour. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.